Good Monday morning. It's the best day of the week. Are we all ready and excited? If not, sit back and look at my aquarium. It'll make you feel better. And listen to this crazy story of the most dangerous situation that I ever found myself in when I was on the streets of Portland. And just for some context, guys, I grew up in like a small town. I was a housewife for 22 years in suburbia. I'm, not really a rough rider here, but so this happened. Okay. So background, anybody who needs it, you're going to have to go back and look at my other stuff to get the background. But I was working with an organization called Love Talks Baby. They were working on the streets of Portland near Skidmore Fountain, Portland, Oregon, for those of you who are familiar with the area. They were setting up parties, like a whole tear down kitchen and tables and chairs and tents. And when it got cold, there were heaters and lights and charging stations and art and like decorations and rugs put out so it looked cool. And Linda really did it up. But before I got there, when she first started, there were people who their thing was they would obtain alcohol and then they would sell it to people, to other unhoused people on the street, or, I'm sure if a house person wanted to come hang out, they could do that too. But, they would maybe have like some chairs and some music going and stuff. And initially they kind of set up shop, by the Love Talks gathering. It was, shared, everybody gets the best of both worlds, right? Except the problem with alcohol is people get, there are people who get very mean, and it is hard to have alcohol without having fights. So at some point, Linda made the decision that they could not have alcohol at, the gathering. Like, she was really big on, we're not here to tell people what to do. We are not the behavior police. She had very, very few rules. They were no violence at our site. If you really need to be violent, go across the street or over there, have whatever you have to do, but not here. You can't do it here. And there was no drug use other than weed, because weed is medicine and is often the only medicine that very poor people can have access to. And no like actual engagement in illegal activities, prostitution, drug dealing, things like that at our site. Go do that somewhere else across the street or whatever. So those were like her only rules. And then she did add in no alcohol because, again, you can't have a place that you're like, no violence and then have fights breaking out all the time. That's just not feasible. So, she did that. People weren't really happy, but they were, they were friends, and she had befriended the main couple that, headed the thing up, and they were still, of course, welcome and all this, but I don't know. That was a whole situation that I wasn't involved in. But what I was involved in was, it was probably about a month after I got to Portland. I was really only supposed to be there for 2 weeks, but go to my TikTok. That's a whole story. We show up at the site, and this couple is sitting there with their boombox and some chairs, and they're kind of setting up. Well, this creates a problem for us because, this was always an empty space. We just show up and unload and set everything up, and it wasn't an issue. And now they were like, well, we decided we wanted to be here today. And this is, people start unloading. We had a bunch of people helping us, and setting up as Linda goes over to talk to them. Well, somehow in the middle of this, they begin like they are physically assaulting Linda. I can't even, it just was chaos. It was chaos. In my mind, what I see is a half set up party and people everywhere. And the woman from this couple has Linda by the neck, like in a chokehold, kind of. They were both standing up, and like they're by the metro train as it's going. I mean, it was just awful. And Linda's yelling to everyone, don't, just don't do anything. No violence. No. Right. And I had this vision because I was the administrative person, and part of what I was supposed to be doing, what I was doing when I wasn't on the street and got stuck there. But part of what I was doing was like communications and media outreach and things like that. And I just had this picture of a huge melee breaking out. Like if they actually hurt her, there was going to be violence, right? Like, and I'm like, this is what we're going to make the news for. This is, oh my God. So I hung back a little bit because you got to give yourself room to move, right? Hung back a little bit and waited till they came back into like a space that I could get to very quickly. And I just marched up and grabbed the woman's arm from around Linda's neck and pulled it off and got her away. And then, Linda, says, move across the street. And all of our people start moving stuff across the street while I and Adam, Linda's then husband, stand face to face with this couple who are raging at us. This man is huge. He's like probably, I don't know, he's probably 6'4", and, just good lumberjack burly dude. And he's got an aluminum baseball bat that he is taking and he is just slamming repeatedly onto these cobblestone streets, very loud. And Adam and I there's a certain process that you use to de-escalate with someone who's behaving in this way. And we both just kind of stepped into, you're just saying true good things to the person, come on, this isn't worth it. Let's, calm down. And you just until they wear themselves out. Cause there's a method to the madness. Don't do it. I don't know. But everybody moved all of the stuff to across the street to Skidmore Fountain, the actual site of Skidmore Fountain. And that was where we carried on our gatherings from that point forward. And it was actually a much better site, other than the fact that we were not supposed to be there after midnight because it was a park, and the park ranger sometimes would come and be upset with us. But we always tried to, once he expressed his concern, and we responded with our self-interest in the situation, explaining that to him, maybe at the same time, Linda and I. And then we tried to make sure that we had begun tearing down the gathering by midnight. So that way, if he showed up at midnight, we could be like, well, we are working on leaving. And if you would like to help, we can get out of here more quickly. And as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, the cops would not interfere with what we were doing. So, so that's what we did. We always tried to leave the place clean. But yeah, that was the scariest situation that I was ever in Portland. And I survived. Everybody survived. I was actually super, super, I don't know, I'm sure there were other factors at play, but I was just very grateful that the people who were working with us did not jump in and begin fighting, and did not respond with violence. And I also felt like it was probably very powerful for them to see just the three of us who were leading the thing at that point. Well, most of the time there were other people, obviously, but see the three of us engage in a very dangerous situation without backing down, without responding in kind, without violence, and still have everybody be safe. Like, nonviolence actually is effective. Believe it or not, contrary to what the police would have you believe, nonviolence, at least in a face-to-face situation, is very effective. It works. Again, I don't recommend anybody else go out and do this. I really think I was only there because that was where God put me. And if God put me there, it's his job to keep me safe. So it's probably why things worked. So I again, make no recommendations for anyone else to do any of this dumb crap that I have done. So anyways, that's my story. You guys have a fantastic day. You need more Rebecca in your life. Like, this is just a little teaser. I have all kinds of material. Go to my website, The Upside Down World. You can find writing and there's videos. Go to my YouTube, go to TikTok. You would not believe the tea that is up there. My life has been very scandalous. So that is where I'm leaving those stories. And go to my merchandise store. It's Christmas season. People need gifts from the Upside Down World merchandise store. They will be things that nobody else is getting them. And they'll be like, oh my God, this is so cool. Where did you get that? And then you can tell them about me and then they'll know about me too. And then the world will be better. All right, guys. Love you. Have a good day. I will talk to you again soon. Bye.